It's not that it was making me better, is that it was tearing you down.
Right.
Because I was unhappy.
It's easier to stay together. It's safer to stay together.
Yeah, it's less disruptive.
Welcome back to another episode of Trash is Full. We are your hosts, Wes and Jackie. Before we get into this week's episode, I want to issue a public apology.
Oh, wow.
It has been brought to my attention from several people that I use the word like a lot. And they seem to have a problem with it. So I'm sorry. It's something that I recognize and I struggled with most of my life. Didn't really notice it until you film yourself and you put that out there and other people let you know. So I'm going to try really hard to collect my thoughts before I spew it out. Like is my filler word. So instead of saying and yeah, I say like a lot. So I will try to do better. I was thinking that it might be funny, I don't know, to like put a shot collar on me maybe.
Oh.
And every time that you hear me use it, you just give me a little correction. Maybe that'll help me curb that bad habit. If that's something you want to see, comment.
What?
Hit us up in the DMs. Let us know. Email us at trashesfullpodcast@gmail.com. Let us know if that's something that's going to work. That's going to help correct that awful habit of mine.
So I had no idea that was coming. Not sure how I feel about the shot collar, although might be fun once or twice.
Well, I'm hoping that'll work, right? And then you stop.
No.
You stop doing it.
I think it's going to make you too tight and afraid to speak.
It's possible.
But I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Why would you feel that you need to apologize for something like that?
So I was thinking about it and like watching it back, I think I realized that my message, my thoughts, my views, they weren't coming across as clear because I was using that as a filler word so often and what I was trying to say, that maybe it was, you're just like, what the hell is she trying to say? I have no idea. She's just saying like a lot. Like that's all I'm seeing. So yeah. I feel like, you know, especially if we're talking about something that's really important that I'm trying to share, offer advice on.
So while their tact may have not been the kindest,
yes,
you feel like it might have been helpful.
Yes.
Okay.
Agree.
I don't see a need for an apology.
Okay. Well,
but
I'm sorry.
Babe.
Yeah.
This is the anniversary episode. Anniversary as in our wedding anniversary, not in the podcast.
19 years.
Tomorrow's 19 years married.
We made it. And then we made it. And then we made it. We kept getting over those like humps and hurdles, right? Because isn't the first big one in marriage is like that first 7 years?
7. Why is that?
I don't know.
I've heard that too.
That's just like the thing. People are like, oh, you've made it past 7 years. Like that's, if you can stay married for 7 years, then your marriage is going to last. But you and I both know that that's not.
No, it's not the case.
No.
Maybe people go through like cycles, like of themselves every 7 years.
But like that's
like
when
a career change, or that's when kids come. I have no idea.
That's true. That could be a possibility. Yeah. I don't know, but we've done 7 years over.
What's the next one?
Like after 7 years? What is the next like big hurdle?
For us, what do we got next?
Oh, for us? Isn't it 25?
Oh, we're never going to make it.
6 more years. I feel like if
Just kidding. I love you.
I feel like we've made it this long and all of the things.
Well, 1, I hate moving. And 2, I wouldn't even know how to date.
Ew, that would be the last thing on my mind. Is dating
Well, I
somebody?
gotta have somebody take care of me.
Well, you do.
Somebody take care of my place. Like, I'm never home.
Yeah. You just live in your car at that point, right? Live in hotels.
Yeah.
Just always be on the road. Never see your kids.
But yeah, I couldn't imagine dating.
No. Oh my gosh, no.
It'd have to be another parent so they would know what it's like. But at the same time, I don't know anybody else's kids.
Yeah. That would
I got enough.
Bad. Yeah. So you're saying that we have stayed together. We've made it 19 years in marriage because you,
No, I'm saying
1, don't want to move, and 2, you don't want to date somebody else.
I'm saying I'm bought in now.
Oh.
Like, no matter what happens, we got to stick it out.
Yeah. So there for a while, I felt things were pretty rocky.
Bro. When we were going through you working at the same time as being mom, and then you not working because you felt that would be best, and then you wanted to go back, and then that was stressful, and then we had the depression. Like, so for that 2-year span, that was rough.
So that, and then also I honestly feel like those first 7 years of marriage were kind of rough, right?
Yeah. 19 to 26. Yeah. I was an asshole.
You mean 19? Okay.
I think
19 to 26 years old.
Yeah. I think we covered that last episode.
Yeah, we did.
I wasn't the easiest to be around.
Okay.
So
and we stuck it out. We somehow stuck it out, didn't quit.
Yeah.
Pushed through.
But that shouldn't
kind
be
of grit and bear it, right?
That shouldn't be what we're celebrating.
No,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely not. No, I'm just reminiscing on like how we've come so far.
Yeah. I am able to say and able to feel this way now. I am more invested and more in love with you.
Oh my gosh.
Seriously, like,
you're going to make me cry.
Than when we were 15, 16 years old.
Well, I'd hope so. We've built a life together.
Yeah, but
does that make sense?
If you remove the life and everything was stripped away and we ended up on the streets, had to start over, like, I'm locked in.
Well, same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be because we're married or because we've done it or because we had kids. It's because I'm sold on you.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah. I'm in.
Good. All right.
Let's roll.
Took you long enough.
It did.
To get there.
Well, you're kind of a pain in the ass.
I am not. You've already admitted that it was all you and that I am a sweet angel trophy wife. No, I mean, it obviously takes 2 people to make it work and to also fight, really, right?
Yeah, to disagree.
Yeah.
But I'm in. Let's roll.
Yeah. We did it, right? And there during like the rocky patches, especially this last one, we had come to the point where we decided that we needed some outside help. Right? I felt we were fighting daily, weekly, just kind of over the same stuff, different day. We just never could resolve it.
Too much on our plate.
Yeah. Ultimately, that's what we'd concluded is we'd kind of just taken on way too much for 2 people to handle in a marriage, And then we ultimately took the marriage counselor's advice after kind of resisting a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it worked out and we overcame that. So I think the message there is, you kind of just have to keep pushing through.
So we have a saying at work. It's called FITFO.
FITFO.
Figure it the fuck out. And that's what it is.
That's what marriage is.
That's what, I mean,
any relationship.
That's what life is, but it's what relationships are.
Yeah.
Because new things will keep popping up.
For sure.
And new scenarios. And the world changes. And your kids grow. And that changes. And you evolve as people. And then you have to put it together as a couple. Like whatever it is, you just got to figure it out. But that takes both parties. And like when you're two individuals, it's very difficult. And if you don't know how to communicate, you don't know how to compromise, you don't know how to say, hey, I don't know the answer to this. If you don't trust, if you don't feel like you're trusted, like all of that. If you're going to do it and be not happy, but if you're going to do it and feel united, I feel like you got to put all those things, line them up and keep working on those things so that you can accomplish that goal. And the goal is just figure it out.
Okay.
Does that resonate at all?
Yeah, no, for sure. When do you think that's kind of not enough sometimes? When someone's not willing to do the work to figure it out?
Yeah, both got to be in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
But there's going to be days where I'm not in. I mean, I am. I'm always in.
Right.
But I might not want to be focused on that.
Yeah.
And so you got to be okay with that and be like, all right, we'll try this shit tomorrow. And then the tables will turn and you've had enough. And so there's patience mixed in
and
there.
Grace. Yeah.
Grace.
Giving each other grace.
Yeah. Realizing you're not perfect either.
Yeah. That's something that I feel like I struggled with early on, is kind of giving you grace.
Who didn't? Yeah.
Yeah. And then also, I feel like both of us, we felt it was important to be right. And it was like, you said this. No, I didn't say that. And like it would turn into a big deal instead of just like, okay, yeah, like that's not important. But
I think too, like, I just said like,
seriously, how fun would that be?
I'd be afraid to talk.
You'd forget it was there until
you get it. Yeah. What were we talking about? Oh,
sorry.
I feel like ego is something you got to get over as an adult. If you're going to be, and I don't think you ever fully get over your ego. Like you have to have some sense of self and preservation at least. But that need to win or be right, I think that's okay. But not when you're trying to accomplish something with someone else. And I think you have to be okay with the other person when they change their mind.
Right.
Or when they do something opposite of what they've done for their entire life. Because you grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know. I felt like there were times when we were younger where it would almost be like we were at trial and you were like trying to prove your case. And you'd be like, oh, well, you said, or like you always believe. And so you hold it, or at least I did. I'm real good at that shit. And then flip it on you. Just so I could, it's not that it was making me better is that it was tearing you down.
Right.
Because I was unhappy.
Yeah. No, I think I felt the same way.
Yeah.
But in a marriage, in a relationship, in a partnership, like you win, I win. You know what I mean? Like we should be working together. It should be you and I against whatever problem we have instead of like I'm making the problem you.
I think that's only the case if you have goals together. Because if you're not trying to accomplish anything in particular, then you're just kind of like mooking about.
Maybe. But like, let's say, for example, like, money's tight and you don't have enough to pay your mortgage, your rent, something like that, right? It's really easy for couples to blame each other, say like, what are we going to do? Like,
oh, you got your haircut last week.
Right. Yeah. And start, picking at each other as to like whose fault it is instead of saying, like, how are we going to solve this? Like, let's sit down. We need to budget. You know what I mean? Like coming together.
But what's the goal? Like in that scenario.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Is the goal just
So the goal would be to maybe like budget better. So.
But why?
So that you don't have that problem again.
Yeah. But I think if you're like, we want to have a goal of saving this much money per month so that on this day we can buy a house or we want to have a vacation. Like if you can put that in front of you and work together. If you want a man to work alongside of you and like encourage you, set a goal together.
Okay.
And we will, like, that bonds us more than anything is when we're going at a goal together. You're like, babe, I want to take the kids on a week-long vacation at this place. It's going to cost this much money. In order to do it, we got to do these things. And he'll be in.
Oh, sounds like a lot of work.
Well, it is
yeah, I know.
To accomplish things in life. It's work.
It is for sure.
But
no, I'm just.
If it's just like we want to have enough money at the end of the month, like that's usually not enough to drive anyone to change their behavior. It's only if you're trying to accomplish something.
Right.
Like, yeah, I know I need to eat better, but if I've got a goal of I want to, I don't know, weigh this much, have this much body fat percentage, I want to run this marathon, compete in this thing. Like if we've got a goal for that and there's a time frame, like I don't know about women, but I feel like men are more likely to put their attention and effort into something like that.
I mean, if it's something we really want.
But if you do that together.
Depends on what's motivating us, really.
As a pair,
right.
As a couple.
No, for sure.
That's powerful.
No,
and you can withstand the losses together because you're both in it together.
True. Yeah. It definitely does kind of strengthen that connection.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So 19 years married.
Mm-hmm.
How do you... So I'm on the road a lot, right? And I put in, hours at work, and folks will give me their take on it, sometimes unsolicited.
Their take on what?
On, well, you should be home more.
Oh, gotcha.
You need to do X, Y, Z. How much? I don't know how much interaction outside the home you have now, being stay at home. But
enough.
But
it's enough.
When folks offer you marriage advice at this point, how do you typically respond?
Oh. So I guess it depends on who the person is, what values they have, what the status of their relationships are. And I mean, it's okay to be divorced, get divorced. I get that.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you realize or you grow and change and it's like, okay, this isn't working out anymore. And so I wouldn't be like, oh, well, you know, you have a failed marriage, so I'm not going to take advice from you. But I would take a look at their current relationships to see, you know,
they have what I want?
Does any of their advice have any merit?
Yeah.
Because if they're somebody who's constantly fighting with their partner, constantly complaining to me about their partner and, you know, they're not doing this, and I'm probably not going to accept their advice.
Yeah, I would say, if it's someone who's been married a long, long time, like longer than us, and I've seen them interact with their spouse and I'm like, damn, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Then I would. Or if someone was offering me
advice on like what not to do.
Yes, because they did it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, hey, I went down this road and that was bad. I would listen to regrets.
For sure. That too. I feel like sometimes that's even more beneficial.
Yeah.
Is to be like, okay, so don't do this.
Yeah. Like if I was a divorce guy, the only advice I would be giving is whatever I did to screw it up.
Right.
Like, no, what you need to do.
This is the reason why I'm divorced. Don't make the same mistakes I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And trying to help.
I don't know. In general, I guess I don't listen to a lot of folks just in life in general. I think you can learn something from pretty much anybody.
Yeah. Whether
they're smarter, older, younger, dumber.
True.
They've got something that you can offer. But I guess I just don't really.
There's a couple of like psychiatrists that I like, that I follow, that I would take advice from. Marriage advice. These people have been married a long time.
Sure.
They seem genuinely happy in their marriage. The way that they talk about it.
I just mean people that you interact with.
Right. Yeah. No.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to listen to.
Not many. Professionals, right?
Yeah. And even so, like if I disagree with it, I might not.
Yeah. No, for sure. But I tend to agree with.
So like you should have an open relationship. It's the only way. And I'm like, man, I don't think so.
No, I would never.
Yeah.
So.
I would never.
Don't ever.
Yeah.
Try to push that, because
unless I wanted
a solid no for me.
Unless I wanted the relationship to
end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gotta
You'd
be
like, oh, if I do this, she'll want out.
Yeah. Start bringing people home.
What is happening?
That's got to be real confusing. I think you'd have to be real secure with yourself. The other person would have to be real secure with yourself or with themselves. Having those two things together is almost impossible. But then you'd also both have to want to have, like, that seems like a real rare occasion that would be successful.
So I guess my thing with like an open relationship is I don't understand why you would have one. You either want to be with this person, right? Or you don't. But I guess they're like, I want to be with you and I also want to be with other people.
Well, I think.
Because isn't it just strictly like sex based, right? It's not like you're going on dates with.
Yeah, you can.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
But I think I would say some people probably say, I want to be with you. And that means something different than when someone says, I want to be with you. So like, let's say I was like, babe, I love you. That whole speech I just gave you earlier, like I'm all in.
Okay.
But, I kind of want to over here. I love you only. Like, yeah, I feel like it would be that thing. I think they're separating the sexual component.
But are you taking these
love.
Other people out on dates?
I think that could be part of it. Yeah.
So what would prevent you from falling in love with someone else?
Well, you only love that person. That's what. But there isn't anything.
That's not how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds
I don't know enough about
risky.
it. But there's got to be a ton of guidelines and boundaries and a lot of communication there.
Yeah, it's not for me.
I don't think that's,
No. Not that I'd be jealous. I would just be, I'd be disgusted.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you.
I don't know how we got to that topipic, but
I don't know either. One man show.
Oh, we were saying, I'll disagree. I'll listen to experts, but even still,
even if they,
I may disagree with them if it doesn't really go with what I'm trying to accomplish.
True.
So you had a few questions written down for this episode specifically about our long tenured relationship. Anything on your mind?
So I think one, I don't know, I feel like we covered some of them already. But I guess what advice would you give to a married couple who have been in it for, let's say, less than 10 years now? Okay, they haven't hit 10-year mark.
Okay.
What advice would you give them to continue that longevity in their marriage so that they do hit the 10-year mark and the 20? And what's the secret sauce?
I mean, if you just strip it down, the secret sauce is not getting divorced. That's how you stay married. Seriously.
No, I mean, it is. But how do you stay happily married?
There it is. That's the question. And my first question would be, are you currently happy? And if the answer is yes, I would say, is your spouse currently happy? I wonder how many times you'd hear yes to both of those questions.
You think it would be rare that both people are saying yes, they're happy?
Yes.
So another thing is, I'm just going to derail for a minute and we can get back to it. But it's impossible to be happy in your marriage 24/7.
I'm saying happy with your marriage.
But sometimes aren't you going to be unhappy in it? Something's going to happen. You're going to go through a season.
Sure. But
how long does the season last?
You're going to have tough times, right?
Yeah.
Like if you would have asked me a year ago, going through all the shit we were going through, hey, are you happy with your marriage? My answer probably would have been no.
For sure.
Right?
Yes. Both of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the only reason we stayed married is because we didn't get divorced. Like, that's it.
But my thing was
I knew that we could get over it.
That's what I'm saying. Were those struggles like, oh, we can get past this?
Yeah. Because I have enough proof with the rest of the years that we've been together that I am happy with our relationship because you put in effort and I put in effort.
Gotcha.
Like
okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. I understand there will be bad times, but I also understand I trust that you're going to put in the effort and match my effort to get to the other side. And in that scenario, I am happy with it.
So when one person is not putting in the effort.
Yeah. When it's a bad time and all of the, evidence points to this person's not going to put in the effort. I think there are a lot of people that are still married that all the evidence points to their partner not really going to do shit.
Gotcha.
I think there's a lot of people that I know.
But it's easier to stay together. It's safer to stay together.
Yeah, it's less disruptive.
Yeah.
You have kids.
For
you
sure.
figure out how to interact in a way in front of the kids that just becomes normal. And it's probably not good. It's probably not loving.
Yeah, you're probably not modeling what a healthy relationship should be like between
but there's almost
a husband and wife.
I don't know, I feel like people convince themselves that there's some sort of nobility in we're going to stick it out for the kids. When kids don't really play a part in whether or not the two adults are happy.
True.
Happy with each other.
True.
Not happy, but
I'd be interested to see what the statistics are of kids growing up in a 2-parent household where, they're still married, but, they were fighting. It was very unhealthy environment versus growing up in a 1-parent household where,
nothing but love.
Yeah, where they really loved each other. You know what I mean? I think that would be interesting to kind of see if, people are doing a disservice to their kids by staying together. Although they think it's...
I think it depends on how you interact with the kids. But dude, kids can tell.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you leave the house, like if one person leave, like if there's an actual breakup and divorce, like that shit's undeniable. The kid's gonna feel that.
Yeah.
And it's now a child has to choose. Basically, like I got to be on one of their teams. Very rarely, I would imagine, do they feel connected to both.
True.
So that's definitely going to happen.
Yeah. I know. That's sad.
It's tough.
Yeah. All right. So going back to the longevity thing. Sorry.
Okay.
So what's the secret sauce? You said just not getting divorced, which sounds easier said than done.
Well, I mean, it is. You don't leave.
So that's never, you have to communicate that with your partner in like, this is never an option. We need to work it out. We need to
if the goal,
talk to a professional. Like,
if the goal is to just stay married, that's a pretty low bar.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we got to make it to 10 years.
10 years.
Like,
we got to make it to 7.
Gives a shit if you're miserable.
Yeah.
I think the bar should be, I want to be in a relationship with someone who supports me and loves me and cares for me and that is capable of receiving those things from me. Mm-hmm. And we're all going to fuck up from time to time. They're going to give me grace. I'm going to give it to them. And we rebuild and we have goals together.
Yeah.
Like it's an important thing for me.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to be trying to achieve something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just feels like you're floating through the day. I feel like that's probably what retired people feel like, and they just die. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yeah. That's why you got to keep working. Something. Get a hobby.
Yeah, but when you have a hobby, you're like, I'm going to try to build this thing, or I'm going to try to learn this skill. Like, you've got a goal. You're doing something. But you're just sitting in front of the TV. You're a goner.
For sure. Yeah. So, just don't get divorced.
Well, it depends. Do you want to be married? Like, do you want
to stay married?
Do you want to be in your marriage?
Yeah. I guess it's hard, though, to know when to pull the trigger.
I feel like you know when.
Do you?
If you listen to your intuition, because you're saying, because I think when you're figuring out that question or the answer to that question, you're looking back on all the past experiences. Like, what's the evidence say? What's the data say? This person's not going to line up with what I'm trying to accomplish.
Right. But aren't you always hoping, or at least, in the back of your mind, like, this person is capable of change? They can change. They can get on board with what I'm trying to do here. You know what I mean? I feel like sometimes you don't want to just give up on somebody.
Yeah.
But at the same time, how long do you wait?
Yeah, it's a personal decision.
Yeah.
And then, you throw kids in the mix and
I wonder if that's why, because like some people, some like famous people, and some people I think maybe that I've known, they'll get divorced, right? And they'll be divorced for a couple years and then they'll get back together and they'll get remarried. And you know what I mean? So I wonder if it's one of those situations where somebody called it a little too soon
or they needed that breakup.
Yeah.
So that they
could appreciate what
I need
they
to change.
had. Yeah.
To spark that change.
Too.
Yeah.
That's true too.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Right. But it happens.
Because like you and I think when you have kids, you're forever linked, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. You're always going to be in each other's lives.
But at this point, like even if you kick me to the curb, we're connected forever.
Yeah.
Just personally, even no kids. So sorry.
Well, that's just because I think we've been through too much at this point together.
Yeah, as individuals and a couple.
Yeah. It's hard to forget all that history that you have with somebody.
Yeah, I've seen too much good come out of you to be able to write you off. You know what I mean? And
I'd have to do something really messed up for you to do that, maybe.
I get when people make mistakes. It would just have to be consistent behavior that shows me that you've changed into a completely different person. And even then I wouldn't trust it. I'd be like, something's going on. We got to get her help. It would be a long time before I would believe that you've turned a direction. Now, me, on the other hand, it's probably a little easier to believe. Like, I'm a little more erratic and crazy.
Yeah, I guess. You are.
But I mean,
you're unpredictable.
You've been solid.
Yeah.
Like you're the rock.
I know. I think we talked about that the other day, like coming home from a date night. We talked about, like how I haven't done any like wildness, like staying out all night, not coming home and like things like that. And I was like, oh, I haven't. Like,
yeah, you're the family's rock.
Do I get to do that? Do I want to do that?
That's the thing. At this point, I'm like, if you want to do that,
who's going to take care of the children?
You got me. If I'm home.
They're not here.
Yeah. Now, if you did it and I wasn't here, I'd be like, something's going on.
Yeah, that's wrong.
But you wouldn't, you know what I mean?
No, I wouldn't.
Because you wouldn't want to.
The kids come first.
Yeah.
Yeah, they always do. Yeah, it's funny.
But if I was doing that shit at this age.
Oh, I'd kick you out real quick. Yeah. Can't be having all that. I'm too confident in myself now.
Yeah.
And knowing like what I bring to the table, which I feel like at the beginning of our marriage, kind of unsure. Like,
oh yeah,
am I a good spouse?
We're young.
Yeah. Inexperienced. Like, you kind of just emulate like, oh, this is how I've seen, like, this is what wives do, right?
This is as good as it gets.
Yeah. But I feel now I'm like, yeah, I'm a good catch. So
how much does like financial how much does that weigh on someone's mind before they choose to end a relationship?
Oh, so you're saying like how much, like, because wasn't that, I don't know if it still is, but wasn't that like one of the main reasons why people get divorced is because of money?
Yeah, they disagree with money, yeah.
Yeah.
But let's say, because, with child support, alimony, they take a percentage of your income.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
There's no like, okay, if you've got this many kids, you pay this much. It depends on how much you make.
Right. Yeah. They're not trying to bleed you dry.
Right. for a lot of folks, that wouldn't be enough to match their current lifestyle. How much does that play a part? You know what I mean? So like, I'd only have to pay you like, I don't know, $4,000 a month for child support and alimony.
I'd take it. That about cover things.
I'm sure you would, but like, that's not what we bring home now.
Right.
And that could be scary. How much do you think that would play a part in someone's decision?
So personally, it wouldn't play a part in my decision, but I think that's because I know that I have family that could help out with that. Now, if I didn't have family, or if they were financially strapped and they couldn't, step in and until I got, solid, then that might definitely play a factor.
Yeah, I just wonder how many unhappy couples are out there because
they can't afford.
They can't afford to live alone.
They can't afford to, yeah.
And take care of all their responsibilities, including the children.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you'd have to move back in with mom and dad, with the kids at that point. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But I don't know. I would hate for that to be a reason that I stay in a bad relationship. Yeah. But I'm sure it happens a lot because they don't want to have to go through that.
Well, I guess you're just weighing it. Like, I'm unhappy either way. At least here, I'm in a stable environment. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But then, like, day in, day out, the other person's not putting in any effort, or they're
just
like
looking at them
derogatory, or mean, or
like, I hate you.
And maybe you felt this way about me at times, but like, especially at work, there will be, and I don't really feel about this way with anyone in our company, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
But there'll be that one person that no one likes. Mm-hmm. And you hear their name, or just see their name, or you hear their voice, or like, hey, someone said that this guy, and then just makes you like, fucking, just thinking of the person makes you angry or sick.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel that about me?
I've definitely felt that about you.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that awful? That's a terrible way to feel about your spouse.
Yeah, it's not your fault. It's mine.
True. But I could have come to you with that and been like,
would it have done any good, I guess, would be the question.
Have we ever had that conversation with each other where we had like a heart to heart, like, I'm unhappy in our marriage because of this. Like, I need this to get better.
No, I just used to stop talking to you.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's important. That's if we ever get there again, babe, tidbit for people.
Yeah.
To be vulnerable with each other and have those conversations, because it could save you a lot of arguments down the road if they know what your expectations are.
I guess everything that I've put you through, like if I ever got to that point with you, I would feel too guilty to ask you to change.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, you don't really change a lot. Like, you don't have big swings like I do. So it would be really strange if I got just sick of you. Just like, oh, fuck.
Like, I hate it when you leave your clothes all over. But I need you to start picking up after yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that's not enough to end a relationship. But
no, but I'm just thinking, like, that's like, that could be.
Oh, I tell you shit that I don't like.
And it would like, it would be more general than just, like, oh, you need to start putting your shit in the hamper. It would be more, you're doing X, Y, and Z. It's causing me a lot of frustration. We need to figure out, like,
yeah. You did that once to me.
Did I really?
Yeah.
What was it about? Do you remember? I'm just curious.
It was more of an ultimatum. I
gave you an ultimatum?
Mm-hmm.
About what?
I think you've only done it once. It was about my drinking.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
We'll have to have a whole episode.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's the only time. And that shit put me in shape real quick.
Yeah, I did. That is the only, and I feel like that's a valid reason to give someone an ultimatum.
Yeah, the ultimatum of either you change or I'm gone. That ultimatum.
Yeah.
I wouldn't see you be like, if you don't start putting the toilet seat down, I'm out. Like, it'd have to be pretty big.
Pretty big or constant, and not like if I came to you and said, it really bugs me, it infuriates me when you do this, you know, like that you always go out with your friends and you're never here. And if you were just like, oh, you know, you're just overreacting and you don't ever want me to go out. I feel like those kind of things, like when you're constantly being brushed off and your feelings aren't being validated.
There you go.
I feel like that's kind of a big deal too. Something to bring up, and that might be a reason to end a marriage over, is when you are constantly not being validated. You're not being seen or heard. Yeah. It's like, well, why am I here?
Yeah. The action that would cause you to leave is not that the person goes out.
Yeah.
It's that they're dismissing how you feel.
Yes.
So those are two different.
Yeah.
The person might be like, I don't know, I go out a couple times a month.
It's
Who
like,
cares?
oh, I had no idea you felt this way. Like, maybe I can tone it down a little bit.
If you feel like your partner's going to respond that way, if they've put in the, you know, introspective work on themselves and are mature enough to be like, oh shit, this is a problem and I can help fix it. Or they'll be like, you need to get over it.
Yeah.
I guess if you don't feel safe going to the person with that sort of vulnerability, then you probably won't. Oh boy, I feel like something's brewing.
What?
You holding back?
No, I'm not.
You're like, well, actually.
No, I don't have anything to say about that. It was just thinking.
It was a pretty heady conversation this week.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully someone can gain something out of it.
I don't know.
How to stay together, or how to recognize when it needs to come to an end.
Another piece of advice that I give just in life in general is assume positive intent. Don't assume that the person is trying to do something malicious.
Yeah, he's out to get you.
Because most people are good people.
Mm-hmm.
We may disagree with a lot of things they do or say. So assume that they have positive intent, and we just don't understand what their intention is.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why that open communication is important, so that you can find out what their intent is and clear up any misconceptions that maybe you had about them or the situation, instead of going a week without talking.
Yeah. Assume there's something you don't know, which if you do that, you won't be able to make a decision on how you feel about that person's actions without gathering more information.
Right.
That's pretty hard. It sounds real easy, but it's pretty hard.
Well, I mean, marriage is hard. It's work. Anybody who says, I hate this. Anybody who says that marriage is easy, I feel like you're lying to yourself.
Really?
Yeah. I feel like you're not as deep with your partner as which could be, because it's really hard to live with another person.
Yeah.
Right?
Given this, I don't know. It's really hard for me to live with another person.
We're two different individuals. And especially if, you've got the whole opposites attract thing going on, then you're two opposite individuals, and where one person wants to go out, one stays home. And so a lot of that takes work.
I could see that.
It takes work to make it all copacetic. And sometimes it's not always going to be because of that.
I could see, though, two people in their early 20s, they have the same friends because they met while they're in their friend circle and they're into the same things. And I don't know. I could see they don't have any.
It's just easy. Everything just falls into place.
They don't have any kids. I'm sure there's conversations and disagreements, but I could see some people, at least at some point in their marriage, it being relatively easy.
I'm not saying it should be hard all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it takes work.
You're going to have tough spots.
Yes.
That you're going to have to get through.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Good.
Because I'm scared of you.
You should be.
All right. That was a great episode, babe.
That was a great episode. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us and reminiscing. Yeah.
Hopefully no one makes fun of your grammar this week.
I hope not. I'm not going to read it.
I'll read it for you.
No, please don't. Please don't tell me. All right. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Trash is Full. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.